Good afternoon, everyone. This is episode 2 of Talks with Tobes, and these are my two guests. Introduce yourselves.
Hello, everybody. My name is Diego Ken. I'm an excited guest here on Talks with Tools.
And I'm Thad Fusco, and I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you, thank you. So today, we're going, talk about, life topics. Life journeys, life experiences, and, just the good stuff, we've been through, our entire lives. So we're going to start with humility. Like, when did y'all start to develop humility? Was it like later in high school, or was it now, as you're maturing into adulthood?
Well, I think with me, it's been a lifelong arc. You know, I've constantly grown. My parents always try to instill in me, like, hey, you're not the only person in the world. Like, you have to understand who you are, where you are, um, do your best in everything, and, understand what you're doing. I think what really instilled in me, like, humility. It was luckily it was this situation, a small situation. Um, when I was like going early on to high school, and I was looking into sports, I don't know. I tried to play soccer. I joined a soccer team. I thought, hey, I'm pretty good at soccer. I'm gonna destroy everybody. I thought I was the biggest man on the field. As I was gonna go around like mess up all these other kids, and these kids are like a foot taller than me, um, and like they weigh like 20 pounds more than me. And so I get out there and I bomb, and like these kids destroyed me. But I realized like, hey, I'm not like prime Messi. I'm not an elite athlete. I'm just a kid who you know decided to walk on one day and thought I was the best in the world. It made me realize, just sit back, realize, hey, these guys work a lot harder than you do. They put in a lot more effort, and you know what? Just sit back. You are who you are, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think for me, kind of a lot of different stuff with like sports, especially throughout like middle school, high school, years ago. Kind of just thinking like, oh yeah, I could be on these different teams and beat all these kids, and I wasn't like putting in the effort and stuff, and I just like would think I would be fine to go do something, or even like it was going taking like tests in like high school and stuff. I remember it was like, oh yeah, I'll be fine on this test. I'll be fine with this or that, and I didn't really care too much about my grades, but I was just like, yeah, I don't need to study. I'm fine. And of course, I'd fail, get a D or something or worse, and then just like I'd be like, oh, I failed because like yeah, I'm blaming it on everything else. But then the real problem was myself, and it really took till probably my junior year of high school mostly to realize that that's the biggest problem is me, and it's my effort. So I started changing like how my effort was, and even over time, especially now college, like it's been getting a lot better with how college is set up. It's a lot more of a friendly schedule for me. I don't have to sit in a class all day, and I get to have classes that I'm more likely to enjoy, and I get to do more things I enjoy. I have more people here that I enjoy. There's more things to do around here that I enjoy. So it kind of just impacts my life now, and this humility over the time and me failing over and over has kind of brought me to who I am today.
That's good. That's good. Like for me, like I started learning humility, when I started turn around 19, like going into 21 now. Before I had moments like when I learned humility, but sometimes I always had this sense of being overly confident about doing things like, for example, like in soccer. Sometimes I think that I'm really good. Like I'm one the best. One of the few best players on the field when that's not really the case. I have good effort. Like I put in good effort. I put in I show good spurts of potential, but I'm not really the best player on the field. Sometimes you gotta learn that it's okay to not be as good as you think you are. Like it's okay to be. I'm not saying it's okay to be average, but it's okay to accept that your skill set is not at the level that you think it is. For okay,
No, I was I think I think I think it's important to be conscious of yourself, not self conscious in a bad way, but you know understanding of who you are, being self aware really. Um, and I think what's the most important part of anything in life is that you give it your best effort, and you don't try and be stagnant. You always put your best foot forward and try and improve or better yourself in whatever you do. Always put your best foot forward. And I think it's okay to be average as long as you're trying your best to be better in what you put your time and energy to. Because life's short. You don't want to have to be stagnant or just kind of put in like half effort. You get one life. Put your best foot forward and do the best what time you have.
Absolutely.
I mean, what I believe is honestly, I believe that a lot of people, when they think about how they are, they're average, and they overthink that, and they overthink that they're. This is what I used to think. I would be like, say baseball for example. When I played that, I was like, I was not good at all. Like I was fine with hitting, but I was terrible out in the field. Couldn't do anything. I had such low baseball IQ. It was really terrible, and I hated the sport. But I just had this thought of like, yeah, I could do it just because I've played for years, and then I would go out and I would do terrible in the field because I was just not prepared. But there's got to be an acceptance level at some point that you got to understand that you're average or you're not good, and I think that's just a good level of maturing. But I believe that if we go out and we truly try our best, we're not going to be average. Because every time in my life when I've gone out and I've actually put in forth the effort, put forth my just every ability and gone out and actually do something, it's gone out and exploded. Like for basketball, it was before I was like decent and stuff, and then I ended up just being average. Like I was just okay. I was just kind of, maybe the eighth man, kind of just that guy on the basketball team. But once I started putting a lot more work, and then I really started like my skills and everything blow up. And I think that's just a lot with how our world is today, because a lot of people don't want to go out and actually put in that full amount of work. But if you actually go out, fully try, you can achieve anything.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Like that's the same with me. Like I played basketball like one season in high school. Like I used to question myself like why am I not playing more? Like I put in so much effort like when I always step in like but I realized that I'm not as good as I thought I was like until like actually like go I had to like quit basketball like after one season like in high school and just like play like outside like in the parks, like outside in like rec gyms, and just to see the experience, just to like pick up a little bit of knowledge and develop like my skills to a point where I went from being really bad on the court to like being somewhat decent on the court. So you just gotta like pick up the little things and just like work on the little things that are gonna like help you grow not only as a player but as a person. And this also applies to life. Before, like, I never really understood how to, calm my ego down and just, take be concerned with like others, like, how like, my influence might affect others. Because like I was always too confident, like too arrogant, like, too trigger happy. But when I started learning humility like a little bit in college, I toned that down and just like, focused on just improving myself as a person, being more chill, calm, and patient instead of like being arrogant, too like arrogant, like always in a hurry and like, always like, rushing myself and people.
Um, I agree a lot with that. I think where I find my happiness, where I find my like my eudaimonia, like my inner peace, is I realize like, hey, I'm not gonna compete with others. Like I see a lot of people are where I want to be, or they're in better places, or they're doing well. It kind of kills my confidence. Comparisons like the thief of joy. Like I realize, hey, I'm gonna step back. The only person I want to be competing with is myself. I'm gonna be working every day to get through the day and try and do 0.1% better, just any amount percent better, and that's a victory to me. And eventually I'll be so much better. I'll look back and it's like, hey, I made so much progress. And you know what? I think competing with myself, competing with yourself, is so much better than looking to others like, oh, I wish I was like that, or I wish like I need to try and beat this person. Or I think, once you beat yourself, that's the ultimate victory. That's like,
Absolutely.
just be better.
Yeah, that's excellent. What you just said was that's like 100%. I mean, the biggest thing is it's you versus you, and a lot of people what they think it's me versus everybody else. I got to be better than just everybody else, and to an extent, you need to be better than people. Like to succeed in things, you're gonna have to be better than people. But the biggest thing that you got to focus on is you versus yourself, because there's a you that wants to win. There's a you that wants to go out, do things, succeed, go out every day, learn, gain wisdom, gain an understanding, and get better. But there's also a you in you that's lazy, that wants to sit around, that wants to go to the party, go drink, get drunk, everything. They want all the fun. They want all the fun without none of the work. So, but there's also that you in you. You just gotta beat that you in you that wants nothing. You gotta want to succeed. You gotta want to go out and do things.
Absolutely, you're right. Like you said, it's always a you versus you battle. Like you always got to challenge yourself every day to be better and to push yourself harder than no one has ever pushed you before. Because I feel like the real battle is within yourself. It's not against other people, it's within yourself. You got to always challenge yourself every day to be better. Say that I suck at this thing, I suck at writing. Challenge yourself to be better. Like write write like 20 or 30 words a day just to improve your writing. And say you're not good at listening, like listen, go like an hour without talking and just listen. Don't talk, just listen. Just like, stay engaged, don't say a word. Because the common mistake I see people making conversations that they always like to talk over people. They don't like to let people finish their sentences. But that's the thing I like about listening is that you don't have to talk. You can just stay engaged, just listen. Same thing in the classroom. If a teacher is just explaining something that could potentially help you save your grade, like in this class, you listen. Don't talk. Don't have any like, other opinions about like her methods. Just listen. Just shut up and listen.
Yeah, I personally struggle with that. My mind, it tends to have a lot of thoughts go off very quickly, and so I have a lot of these ideas or thoughts and messages that like, hey, I want to get this across, and I'm listening to somebody, and I'm guilty of this. I kind of just shoot off my mouth, and like I might cut off somebody or interrupt them, and I've been really working on trying to be more patient and listen, and focus and intentional with my words. Um, but I'm working on it myself, really. So,
Yeah.
Biggest thing for sure is just slow growth over time. What a lot of people do when they try to get better at something, say like getting off your screen time. And that's one of the things that I'm doing right now. Like my goal for May is to have no more than like an hour of like entertainment time on my phone or whatever. And I've been doing good on that. And I'll definitely hit that. But one of the biggest reasons of, people not succeeding in why they're doing it is because say you average 8 hours a day on your phone, and this could mean anything. This could be a bad addiction to anything. And then they immediately in one day want to jump it to 1 hour or less. You can't do that. You got to over time go, okay, today I had 8 hours on my phone. Let's try it next week over a week or so to get 7 hours. And then, yeah, maybe then you can do that. But you got to do it slowly but surely over time. Small little steps will grow the biggest. Because if you take one large step, you're not going to continue with that. You're going to go right back to what you're doing.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. The one mistake people usually make when they're trying to get better is like they usually rush the process. Like say like with some like black people like trying to grow dreads, they want to like have long locks so bad, but they completely miss out on the process. Like you got to go through the ugly stages to have better locks. Same thing with like trying to get better at say you want to be a pilot, right? Like you told me you're in aviation.
Yep.
And Diego, you told me you're doing like, public relations or business.
I'm doing community development,
Okay.
kind of public
Okay, so some are like
administration.
peaceful public relations. you gotta go through like the process to be better. Like you gotta go through piloting school to get better. You gotta do business classes to get better. You gotta like have experience with the people to like be better with public relations.
Everything's a process, you know. It's really life is really a test of both patience, endurance, and your commitment.
Hmm.
Um, you know, I am really guilty of all this. Like I came to learn as an aviation major. Um, I was for a good while I was very committed to aviation. Um, but I'm a very my brain just shoots off ideas all the time, and so in like the first month I was here at Lynn, I switched my major. I can't remember how many times. Um, I finally landed on um, social impacts and entrepreneurship. Um, but I'm still pursuing. I'm still going to pursue aviation outside of college. I'm still trying to manage all these, interests and passions I have in mind. Um, but I've decided to sit down, try and quiet my mind and focus on this one thing, so I can cultivate and go through the process and better myself in
Yeah, I understand you. I understand you. Like you're just trying to like take it one step at a time and just like slowly like develop yourself and just like go through the process and just like take little learning curves because we all gotta go through learning curves to like get ahead in life, especially get improve on the profession we want to like be great at. And aviation, I get it. Like it's not for everyone. Like with me, I spoke with a friend about this a few days ago about like if and when I want to be pilot, and I told him when I'm on a plane, like I feel so self conscious because we're going so high up in the air, like 30,000 feet in the air, and with 100 passengers on the plane. Because sometimes I worry that if I make one little mistake, one minor mistake, it could cost the lives of like so many people on the plane and including my own life. So I always go with that like, self awareness and like, just that conscious thought in my head. Just worrying about like, the negative and what could go wrong if I make a mistake or two. Cause it's happened quite a lot on airplanes. If you make one mistake where like you're flying drunk or on drugs or just, not paying attention to like certain controls you should be like, using or just like controlling on the plane, like you could cost the lives of so many families and so many people like on the plane.
Yeah, I am really self conscious, especially when it comes to I'm in a new environment. Like I'm really sometimes when I'm out of my element, I just kind of freeze up. I sort of stutter. My brain, it starts shooting off things again. Um, and I kind of just have to realize, I have to step back, evaluate myself, understand where I am, what I'm doing, and try my best, put my best foot forward, and whatever happens, happens. I move on. Life isn't permanent.
Yeah. All right. Anything? What's your input about this?
Just like what you were going over. I mean, with the piloting stuff, I don't know if this exactly relates, but just like doing the stuff slowly but surely. We started out, doing stuff people, aren't gonna like, the maneuvers, the real basic stuff. You got to learn how to properly talk, how to get the frequencies, everything. You got to learn all the ins and outs of the plane, kind of the boring stuff, and then the boring maneuvers. And everyone wants to go like now we're into like cross countries and doing more fun stuff, going to more fun airports and just going to more fun areas. So that's cool, but I didn't want to have to go through the crap. You also got to do like the ground knowledge and stuff of the plane. That's boring. It's insane. It's a big hustle and it takes a lot of time, but that's the hardest part about flying. But it's these little things, and everything that we do is going to have a little bit of something that sucks in it. Not everything. Even if your goal, you want to be in the NBA, everyone's just thinking about the game. Like no one wants to go practice. No one wants to go put in all that work, all the little drills.
Absolutely.
Everyone goes and sees though. Like when we look at these NBA players, we look at say LeBron James. We look at him. We go play. We see he's gone and played for 20 years. We see all the games, but we're not watching him practice. We're not watching him go to shoot around. We're not watching him go to lift. We're not watching him stretch. We're not watching him eat. We're not watching him do everything else. Whereas more than 90% of the time, he's doing stuff to prepare for the game, but we only see that 10% or less that he's at the game.
You're absolutely right. Like LeBron, there's more to LeBron's game than just dunking. Like he has to do like a lot of preps, a lot of workouts to like just stay in shape every single season. Do you know how hard it is to like stay in shape every single season for 20 years?
Yeah.
Doing stretches, lifting, cardio, shoot arounds, waking up early every day, like between around 5 a.m., 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Just train for a whole 6 or 7 hours and just prepare for NBA games.
Yeah.
Kids don't know how hard it is to actually be an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Even in track and field, I'm not comparing my situation to LeBron James, but our track and field coach made us wake up around 5 a.m. to go for track meets. And every day for practice, he'll make us run damn near 5 laps around the whole school. And then after that, he'll make us do like 10 sprints up and down until our legs gave out.
Yeah.
And then he'll make us do some crazy shit like go to the weight room and lift weights after an intense running workout.
Yeah, you should be willing to put in the work. And what if you want to be great, you got to do a great amount of work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like I keep using these examples and stuff, but you always look at the greatest athletes in the world. Like those people don't end up there by accident, or they just woke up, or it's their genetics or whatever.
No,
like,
absolutely not.
Sure, their position, maybe sure their genetics had a part in playing it, but those guys do not miss a training day. They do not sleep in or miss practice, or just have a cheat meal before practice or do whatever. Usain Bolt has he has scoliosis, and he's the fastest man in the world. He runs better than anyone of his era to this day. LeBron James is playing against people 20 years younger than him. How do you beat? He's not even playing against them. He's beating them easily. It's a phenomenon. If you're willing, if you want to be great at anything, you have to sit back, humble yourself, realize, hey, I'm at this point. I could be at this point. I could be doing this. I should just put in the effort. The more you put in is the more you get out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, based on what you said, you gotta be able to put the work in. You cannot just half-ass everything in life. You gotta be willing to put the work in sports, life, business, any career profession you're in. You gotta be willing to put the work in. Like LeBron James, he put in an intense amount of work to get his body and mind ready for NBA games. And same thing with other great NBA players like Kobe Bryant, the Michael Jordans. Those players were obsessed with their sport. They were obsessed with every detail of their sport. And they wanted to make sure there was not a single flaw in the way they played at all on the court. That includes doing a lot of cardio, doing a lot of lifting, doing a lot of stretches to help you prepare your body, and just the mental part. Sometimes NBA players like to meditate just to prepare themselves mentally, or just listen to music just to stay locked in the game. Because I know that's a very common way to get your mental ready for any game you play, whether it's track and field, baseball, football, basketball, or soccer. The athletes like to listen to music just to prepare their mental.
And we're talking a lot about all the work and effort you have to put into improve yourself, be better, be great at anything. But I think it's also important to remember your own time, your own space, your own rest. um they aren't, if it was ideal to train 24 hours straight a day, then I'm sure the greatest athletes in the world would be doing that. But no, they sit back, they get their sleep, they relax, they stretch, they recover, they have their own time to just be still. That's healthy stress, when you have grandmaster chess players who are, playing however many games a day, learning new techniques, um, going through different tactics and strategies. They put a lot of mental effort and stress into these games, thinking about every possible scenario. But there's also times where they sit back, they rest, they sleep. You know, they just take their minds off of things. You can't be going 100%, 100% of the time. You'll burn out so quick, and it'd be like Icarus. You're flying, you're flying. You look up to the sun, you try and get closer to the sun. Eventually, your wings will melt and you fall into the sea.
Fair points. Fair points.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of the biggest things is sleep for sure. I mean, even in myself, like I'm not even gonna say like just the impacts it's had on other people, but even what I've seen for myself. When I started now, I'm this semester I've really focused on my sleep and going to bed earlier. I mean, last semester I was getting like decent sleep, but there would be definitely some nights where I was getting, 4 to 6 hours of sleep sometimes or less. Like I'd be out going do something at a friend's dorm or something, not caring about the time. And now I try to go to bed around like 10, 11, and I'll try to wake up, at 7 to 9 a.m., depending on what my class schedule is, but usually no later than 9. And it just helps. It sets kind of the tone for the day. You get up feeling better. You have so much more energy. My brain is better. Like I feel so much smarter going into every day. I have not only a better thought process going in through my grades and stuff, going in through assignments, but I have more ideas. I have more thoughts about, inventions or something that I can do to help the world, something that I can do to better my life. I think sleep is definitely one of the best things that's helped me too. Not only recovering mentally, but physically as well, growing my body, helping, my muscle growth get a lot better, and just lifting it helps so much. I go into every lift now feeling good. Like I get significant rest, and that's one of the most underlooked things is rest.
Absolutely. Resting is key to good muscle growth and good health. Me, like I used to lift a lot like back last year during the summer of 2020, 2023, like I used to lift a lot. But now like I do a lot of cardio. I've been doing cardio since last summer in 24, and I actually enjoy it. Like honestly, like I enjoy doing cardio a lot. Like it helps. My body feels great like after a cardio session, like every day, like when I'm in like my hometown, like I'll do like 30 minutes on a treadmill. Then some days I'll do like an hour like running outside. And some cardio, like I'll just play soccer and like basketball, but most times I'm just like either running indoor, like running on a treadmill, or running like outdoors, like on either on a hill or like on a biking trail. But my body feels so good like when I do cardio, and just you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I understand you, man. We all working to like be confident, be the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be. And I understand like it's a long process. Like it's a long process. We gotta like do the little things to like improve ourselves. Like that said, he had to improve on his health, his physical appearance, and just like his skincare. And you had to improve like also on the little things. Me, I had to improve on the big things though. Like bro, I had high school. I was literally about the same boat as you. Like I was. I think one dude like from my high school said like I look like a black version of Shrek, which was crazy. that that shit was so crazy, bro. This was back in high school. Like now you see, I was down. I was down really bad in high school.
Yeah.
So I really had to put in a lot of work to just improve. Just hearing you look like an ogre, bro, a black ogre. That's just wild. That's wild, bro.
I think in like those type of situations, you know what? Hey, okay, whatever. But you also have to like you. There's a point where you listen to people are giving like telling you information, but there's a point where like it comes to, like you're just being negative. Like, hey man, that's not nice. That's like kind of messed up. But you just have to cut out negativity. I think cutting like I spoke about this before. Sometimes you just gotta cut out negativity for real, because you have to, like I said earlier, you have to evaluate yourself. Who am I? who I want to be, what I want from me, and you have to look at the people around you, because the people around you um, make up who you are, and you make up the people who are around you. Um, you have to cut out negative people who um, don't like never put out any positivity, um, don't want to improve themselves, well, not improve themselves, but be generally good people, just be good
For sure.
people.
For
um
sure.
and you have to, that when you cultivate yourself, to be, you give yourself love, you cultivate good habits in yourself and be a better person, you attract other people who are cultivating good habits and putting positive energy. You radiate, like it multiplies your energy.
Yeah.
um you
Yeah, I
know
feel you. I
For
feel
sure.
you.
And I love what Diego was getting into. One of the best quotes I ever heard in my life was, "You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most." And one of the things I look at before, when I was, when I looked terrible, when I was just terrible at everything, and I was just average or below average at everything, I look at my friends back then, and it was like, yeah, all these people were pretty much doing the same. They weren't really doing much better than me. So it
Mm.
was like, why would I be friends with these people? These people weren't even like good to me either. They weren't even good friends. And
Facts.
that's one of the biggest changes too. As I went through high school and now especially into college, the people that I'm hanging out with on average are much better. They push me a lot better. Here it's been amazing now in Florida coming here. Just people that push me, to get closer with God, go lift, go get more fit, go get more money, just be an overall better person. And it's really who you hang out with is huge. And over time, just by little changes and changing how it, you're gonna think like, oh, how can I get all these friends? Well, you're not gonna get them immediately. You got to change, like, over time. You got to do slow things, slowly but surely. You got to change your lifestyle, and those friends will come. You just got to slowly get into that lifestyle that those people do as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right. You gotta like improve on yourself first. Like change always starts with you. It doesn't start with other people, like, impacting your circle or who you are as a person. Change always begins with yourself. And what are the ways I can, like, get myself going and like get myself started. Like you said, always have the right group of friends around you. The ones that are gonna push you to be more successful in life, push you to, like, go out there, get a job, push you to, like, get in the gym, lift weights, get fit, get right. Like take your health serious and take your, like, financial, like, health serious.
I A lot of great points all around. um since I've I've moved away from home. I've shifted so much. um I was originally got here um to school. I was kind of scared. I wouldn't have any friends. I don't think I can relate to anybody here. Um, Everything. Um, but I found my friends. And they are so great. I love my friends so much. They're all really great people. Very supportive, very positive. Um, I always feel undeserving. Like my friends are great. I love them. Um,
That's
but
good.
and we all radiate positivity to each other. We're just great. Um, I think you have to realize it initially before you find like a great set of like people who supportive and positive. Um, these like people like that already understand. You're some of the 5 people the 5 people you hang out with and interact with. You know, if you are in a positive friend group and you're sitting if you're already in a negative area, like a negative area, and you're sitting in negativity, someone who's already positive and working on themselves and spreading positivity, they're not going to be want to be around you. Like you have to cut that off. So, you have to focus on yourself first before you try and seek others, or approach others. you know and that's what I find myself doing. I'm always trying to be more positive, improve myself, be more active, healthy, be more faithful to God, um, just being better person overall. And I think that's my positivity, that's my energy that I try to radiate. And I'm happy to be around people who radiate similar, if not better, energy.
I feel you. I feel you. Understand. Like that's the most important part about like, being confident in yourself. Like that's why I love that build self confidence because you can literally like see through the toxicity. You can see through, the mistrust, the misguided like beliefs of like, people who try to like, put this like, image that like, they're confident, they can do whatever the hell they want to do, but that's not really the case. Like they're people like us. Like they struggle, with shit in their lives and just, they're trying to like, figure themselves out. So no one's really 100% confident. We all gotta go through like certain obstacles in life and just like learn how to like, either overcome them or just like, use them to our advantage. Some people will use that toxic energy and like, misguided, like, distrust as fuel for motivation. Some will just like walk away from it. I feel like option B is probably the better option, just to walk away from it and just focus on yourself.
I think sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, especially when it comes to confidence. I think when you look at like greats like Muhammad Ali, people say he was arrogant or he was always acting like he was boastful. He was a world heavyweight champion. He was the greatest of all time. Um,
And still one of the greatest fighters of all time.
yeah, to ever live, and he had every right to be confident, and he showed confidence, especially in a time where you know it was kind of dangerous to do so in his position. Um, and I think he made that conscious decision to always um, boost his um, show. I don't want to say showboatiness, but his
Bo-
confidence,
Boost his
because
persona.
he was an icon to so many. If the person you look up to, one of the greatest athletes of his time, who represented so many people who were undermined already, wasn't kind of scared or kind of it doesn't do well for the community. It doesn't represent well. So he made a conscious effort. Him and Malcolm X. They led a lot of marches. They did everything. He went into every fight confident, like a lion. He went and he won those fights. He won almost every fight he went into. He lives today as one of the greatest ever. So I think
That's
sometimes you just fake it till you make it, and yeah, just until you make it.
yeah,
You know what?
that's true. That's very true. But other than that, like, thank you everyone for tuning in. This was a great episode today from Talks with Tobes, and thank you, Diego. Thank you, Thad, for coming in. I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having us.